Ever since the Samsung Galaxy S23 has launched, I've been thinking, is it worth to buy it over the Google Pixel 7? Well, Pixel is considerably cheaper and you might think S23 should be better, right? But it's not that simple. The question here is it worth to pay 50% more for the Galaxy S23? And this video will help you figure out just that. Hey guys, I'm Kshitij. You are watching Once Upon a Techie, and this is the detailed comparison of the Samsung Galaxy S23 versus the Google Pixel 7. Well, first of all, it really depends on a situation from a design perspective. You just can't beat the smaller form factor of the S23 if that's what you're going for. 6.1 inch screen is not much smaller than Pixel 7 6.3 inch, but the overall footprint is considerably smaller because of the thin bezels all around the phone, unlike the Pixel. You can feel the difference instantly when you hold both of them one by one. And I have to say, using a smaller phone is kind of fun as I don't have to worry about dropping it that much. But for me, Pixel 7 6.3 inch display hits that sweet spot for scrolling through social media and occasional Netflix. Also, if I see someone holding a Pixel phone, I know it's a Pixel right away because it just looks so different than other phones due to this metal bar at the back. Now the Galaxy device. Not everyone's going to notice it in one look. You have to give it a look or two, Now, don't get me wrong. S23 is a premium looking phone with metal frame and glass at the back, just like the Pixel 7. It's just a personal preference. Now, both have the same level of IP68 water and dust resistance, so they are neck and neck. But the button placements are flipped. Where the volume buttons on the Galaxy S23 are above the power button, the Pixel 7 has the opposite, power button above and volume buttons below. I like the placement on the S23 because my finger naturally rests on the power button, and most of the Android phones have that layout. The haptics are really good on both the devices, but I liked it better on the Pixel 7 this time. It has a stronger feedback. But yeah, it's great on both, no issues. The front and rear of the Pixel 7 is covered with Gorilla Glass Victus, whereas Samsung is wrapped with Victus 2, which is more durable according to the manufacturer Corning Inc. That brings me to the displays. Both are good 1080p AMOLED panels that support HDR on Netflix and other apps. But there is a difference as Samsung has high refresh rate at 120Hz as compared to 90Hz on the Pixel 7. Is this a deal breaker? Nope, not that big of a deal because the gap isn't that huge in real life use honestly. Sometimes I do notice a difference, a tiny one, to the point where it doesn't ruin my experience of using the phone. But where the difference is much noticeable is the brightness levels. S23 has a brighter display at 750 nits of peak brightness as compared to 1400 nits on the Pixel. It's not like you'll struggle with the Pixel 7 in the outdoors, but the difference is noticeable this time. You'll find the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor on the S23, which is faster and more reliable than the Pixel 7's optical sensor. Now I'm saying more reliable because I was able to unlock the S23 every time, but Pixel sometimes misses it. 1 out of 30 times, give or take, which is on par with other phones. Both have good stereo loudspeakers, but speakers on the Galaxy device are better sounding than Pixel 7. But Pixel speakers are a bit louder, which can come in handy if you are in a loud environment. Now I don't mean that S23 speakers are not loud enough, they are a tiny bit weak when comparing side by side. But this thing totally changes when it comes to audio via Bluetooth. Samsung have a much louder output whether you are listening to songs via Bluetooth earphones or Bluetooth speakers. So if I am keeping the volume to 50% on the S23, I have to keep it around 75% on the Pixel 7 to get the same amount of loudness. Plus S23 has Dolby Atmos, inbuilt equalizer, and sound profiles which can be tweaked as per your hearing, which again one-ups the listening experience. Well, when it comes to storage, Pixel 7 is available in 128 and even in 256GB in some countries. But India is not one of them, so here you'll have to settle with 128GB only. S23 comes in 128, 256 and half a terabyte of storage. And in India, you can get it in 128 and 256GB. There's one important thing that you should keep in mind. If you're buying the S23, I would suggest you to go for the 256GB variant because it has faster UFS 4.0 storage versus the 3.1 storage found on the lower storage variant. Simply put, 256GB variant will be faster and snappier, so it will be better for you in the long run. Plus, it has double the storage, of course. RAM is 8GB across all the storage options, whether it is a Pixel 7 or a Galaxy S23, and it's sufficient. As for performance, they have different processors. So S23 runs on Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 globally, which is their fastest chip on the market, and Pixel 7 is powered by Google Tensor G2. Look, if you are not a hardcore gamer and use your phone like most people, which is scrolling through social media, sending photos and videos, watching movies and casual gaming, then both the phones are really fluid and I've never experienced any lag or stutters whatsoever. But Pixel is just not made for hardcore gaming. I mean, I played Call of Duty on max settings, and after like half an hour, I noticed a few frame drops here and there, and the phone got quite hot at the back. While S23 also felt hot, but there was no performance drop whatsoever. And I have seen some tweets saying that Pixel 7 getting hot even in regular use. To be honest, yes, I felt the phone getting a bit warmer than usual, even in daily use, in summer specifically, and it is currently above 40 degrees Celsius where I live. But it never got to the point where it became an issue for me. And I'm recording this video on the Google Pixel 7. So I guess it's safe to say that it's coping up well. Speaking of speed, one area where both are just too slow are the charging speeds, and they don't come with a charger in the box. Where Samsung S23 tops out at 25 watts and takes 1 hour 5 minutes to fully charge, Pixel 7 cannot go beyond 23 watts and it takes a whopping 1 hour 30 minutes to reach 100%. Now I strongly feel that they should have supported at least 50 watts of charging. It's not like they have big batteries. Obviously they support wireless and reverse wireless charging, but I found the battery life to be very interesting because even if the Pixel has a bigger 4300 mAh of battery compared to 3900 on the Galaxy S23, I found them to be very equal between both of these. Depending on the type of user, you can get anywhere from 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with Wi-Fi and 5G mixed use. Honestly, I was expecting a better battery life out of Pixel 7 since it runs on clean Android and has a bigger battery. But yeah, it is what it is. Speaking of 5G, no network issue with any phone. For comparison, I get 5G in some areas of my home and both phones behaved exactly the same. So if you are worried about network issue with the Pixel 7 or the Samsung S23, then you don't have to. But I did encounter a very weird issue when I was using the Pixel 7 on the Vodafone network. And let me clarify, the issue is with the Vodafone network, not with the Pixel 7. So 3-4 months ago, I was trying to enable Wi-Fi calling feature on the Pixel 7 because there's a specific corner in my room where I don't get a stable connection. We've all been there, right? But I was just not able to find that option on the phone. So naturally, I googled it to see where the option is exactly, but it was missing specifically on my Pixel phone, which was super weird. So I called Google customer support, told them the whole issue, and surprise, surprise, they were also scratching their heads because the guy on the call was using a Pixel 7 and the feature was there on his phone. Then I called Vodafone customer care if they can enable it from their end somehow. But they told me that this feature is not supported on the phone that I'm using. I mean, how is this possible? It is officially confirmed by Google that Pixel 7 supports it. So to give it a final try before sending my phone to the service center, I searched every page on the internet again and I finally found the issue. And I was really shocked. So these network carriers have a whitelist where they have listed all the devices which can use Wi-Fi calling. And most of the Google devices are not added into the Vodafone India's whitelist. It is such a weird thing, we really can't do anything about it. So I switched my network to Airtel and everything is working perfectly fine now. Wi-Fi calling feature is there. So it's Vodafone India's fault, not something Pixel 7 is lacking. And before you start typing in the comments that this could be a SIM issue, well, I have a Galaxy S20 FE as well, which was showing the Wi-Fi calling feature with the same SIM. Yeah, I did my homework. By the way, if you are having a Pixel device and are on Vodafone India's network, then do let me know in the comments if you are able to find that Wi-Fi calling option or not. Now, I don't really have anything to complain about in terms of software, but both the phones are just poles apart when it comes to their experience. Samsung's One UI is just excellent, and you can download the Good Lock app to customize the phone even more. I have made a video on how to customize your phone through Good Lock, so you can check it out here. Personally, I like both the skins as they have their own strengths, so I can't really decide which one to choose honestly. So if you like heavily customizing your phone, then Samsung is for you. But if you like simple and clean software experience, then Pixel 7 should be your choice. Pixel 7 also have some really useful features like copy any image or text from anywhere, photo unblur, speech to text translation, and few others which are really great. And I actually use them on a regular basis. You can also watch my video on the unique features of the Pixel 7 to get a better understanding. But here's the weird thing. With the Pixel, you only get 3 years of Android updates compared to 4 years on the S23. Now you would think Google, the company that owns Android, should give you maximum years of updates. But I don't have any idea why it's not that case really. But the benefit of getting a Google phone is you do get updates right away, like the iPhones. Like as soon as the new Android update is released and the security patches in the first week of the month. Whereas with the Galaxy S23, you have to wait for Samsung to release the update, and they tend to get slower and slower as your phone ages. So priority will be given to newer Samsung flagships. The cameras on these devices are top notch, and they should be, right? The main difference between both of them are the number of cameras. S23 is having 3 cameras at the back, that's ultra wide, 3x telephoto and a main camera. Whereas the Pixel 7 is not having that telephoto lens. Now Google says they are using some software trickery to get clearer 2x zoom photos, but it's still a digital zoom, not a separate lens. And yeah, both the phones are having 50 megapixel main and 12 megapixel ultra wide cameras. They take excellent photos through all the cameras, but have their own unique style. The S23 takes more vibrant, poppy kind of photos, while the Pixel 7 takes contrasty but true to life colored photos. It feels more realistic basically. One thing I noticed is Pixel 7 tends to smooth out photos when there's low light. That sometimes results in less details, which is only noticeable when you zoom in. Whereas the S23 keeps that noise while maintaining the details. But Pixel does a better job when the lights are too bright, like if you are outside in direct sunlight or indoors in very bright conditions. It basically equalizes the dark and bright areas. Whereas the S23 makes the whole scene a bit too dark for my liking in order to compensate for the bright lights. One thing where Samsung and Google needs to work is the shutter lag. If you are clicking just a single photo, then it is fine. But if you are clicking multiple in a matter of seconds, then they are slow, especially Pixel 7 where it clicked only half the photos. Now I really like Samsung's approach for ultra wide shots, as the ultra wide camera of the S23 is wider at 120 degrees field of view than the Pixel 7's 114 degrees. For the zoom shots, there's no competition really. S23's telephoto camera is just better than Pixel 7's digital zoom photos. Interestingly, when I asked my friend which photos he preferred, he chose the S23. I then mentioned that Pixel 7 photos have colors that are close to natural, to which he replied, "Does it really matter?" And he has a fair point. People generally prefer more vibrant photos that are ready to be posted on social media. But personally, I like the Pixel 7 style of photos, which captures the actual vibe of the shot. Also, both phones allow you to switch cameras in between while recording, but there's no option to switch to front camera in the Pixel 7 while recording. So S23 is a better choice if you are a vlogger. Samsung also gives you complete manual control options for photos and videos both. Pixel 7 gives you basic functions like tuning color temperature, exposure and contrast. That's it. To sum up the cameras, both are great, but overall S23 is better if you are a power user. We usually don't check the after sales support before buying any smartphone, but we should. There's a huge difference between Samsung and Google. So in India, Samsung has around 1300 authorized service centers as per the internet search, but on the other hand, Google has only 40 stores across the country. But if you want, they can collect your phone from home and then mail it back to you after the repair has been done. Well, in India, the Galaxy S23 starts at 75,000 and the Pixel 7 is usually available at around 50,000. Now, if you are in the US, Pixel 7 has the exact same pricing as the Indian market, but S23 costs like $120 less there. Now the question was, are you getting that extra 25,000 rupees value if you buy the Samsung Galaxy S23? Well, if you are someone who wants one of the best cameras, clean and lag-free software experience, and a premium looking phone, then Pixel 7 is the recommendation for you. But if you don't want to compromise and wants to have everything like a compact phone, solid cameras, plus a 3x telephoto lens, better processor for gaming, longer software support, and huge network of service centers, then Samsung Galaxy S23 is the best phone for you. It's just that you are getting bang for your buck if you go with the Google Pixel 7. But you have to remember that as you go up the price ladder, the phone goes into the luxury territory. So Pixel 7 might not be value for money if you compare it with a 30,000 rupee smartphone. And if I have to choose, I would pick the Google Pixel 7, buy a good pair of headphones, and still save some money. Well, let me know which one do you prefer considering all the pros and cons. Alright, that's been it. Thanks for watching Once Upon a Techie, and I'll see you in the next one.